All right, so buckle up, because today we are diving headfirst into the thrilling and sometimes brutal world of film and television.
But hold on, we're not talking about the on-screen drama. No, we're going behind the scenes.
That's right, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, the business side of how these media giants operate.
Think of it like this. We're handing you a backstage pass.
You'll get to peek behind the curtain, see the cogs turning, understand the decisions, and, let's be honest, the struggles that bring your favorite movies and shows to life.
And believe me, there's more to it than meets the eye.
Oh, absolutely, which is why you've gathered such a fascinating collection of sources for this deep dive.
We've got academic papers dissecting the film industry, insider accounts of production, even a glimpse into the cutthroat world of film festivals like Cannes.
It's like having a treasure map to navigate this complex landscape.
Exactly. By the time we're done, you'll have X-ray vision, seeing through the glitz and glamour to understand the mechanics of how it all works.
I love that X-ray vision. All right, let's kick things off with this first source, packaging a movie project. Right off the bat, it dives into the high-stakes game of predicting a movie's success. And spoiler alert, it claims it's pretty much impossible.
Yeah, and you know what? They're not wrong. Even with all the algorithms, the market research, the star power, this paper argues there's no magic formula for a guaranteed hit.
So even with all the data crunching, it still boils down to a bit of a gamble.
Pretty much. This paper even quotes screenwriter William Goldman, who famously said, and I'm paraphrasing here, nobody, and I mean nobody, knows for sure what'll work at the box office.
Oof, that's got to be a humbling thought for studio execs with millions on the line. But then, how did these decisions get made? How do you even begin to navigate this uncertainty?
Well, that's where this idea of the resource-based view comes in, which is a bit of a mouthful, but bear with me. It's a business concept that helps explain why some companies they just get it right. They thrive while others flounder.
Okay, I'm intrigued but also a little lost. Resource-based view. It sounds a tad academic. Can you break it down for us?
Sure, think of it like this. Every business has resources, right? Money, people, equipment. But it's not just about having them. It's about having the right ones.
Okay, so having a top-notch camera wouldn't automatically mean your movie's going to be a blockbuster.
Exactly. The resource-based view argues that the resources that really matter are those that are valuable, rare, hard to imitate, and difficult to substitute.
Okay. So in the film world, a valuable resource could be, say, an incredible, one-of-a-kind screenplay.
Now you're getting it. It's that unique, captivating story that everyone's clamoring for, but no one else has. It's the secret sauce that sets a film apart.
It's like finding a golden ticket in a world of ordinary chocolate bars.
Exactly. And just like that golden ticket, a truly exceptional script, it's like gold dust in Hollywood. Everyone wants it, but only a lucky few get their hands on it.
Which makes me think, this is where the real competition begins.
You said it. The hunt for that winning script, that's where the real drama unfolds.
And that takes us right to another juicy topic. This paper dives into star power.
Ah, yes, the million-dollar question. Can a big-name actor single-handedly rake in the box office bucks?
It's the age-old debate that has studio execs both excited and terrified, right?
Absolutely. And this paper really digs into that tension.
There's this one line that really stood out to me. It says, and I'm paraphrasing here, stars are like insurance policies against the unpredictable whims of the audience. It's like not even the studios are 100% sure if people flock to theaters for the actual actors or just the allure of a household name.
That's a really interesting point, and it highlights the whole paradox of star power. Because the research on this, all over the map, honestly.
So on one hand, you've got studies, some even cited in this paper, that show a pretty clear link between big-name stars and, well, bigger box office numbers.
Right. But then you've got other research saying it's way more complicated than that. That a famous face alone isn't some magical guarantee of success.
So how do we reconcile those seemingly opposite viewpoints? Where does the truth lie?
Well, think of it like this. While a star's name on a poster isn't going to magically turn a terrible movie into a blockbuster.
Though it would be pretty amusing to see them try.
Right. But in all seriousness, a big name does send a very powerful signal, particularly to investors.
So it's less about guaranteeing a hit with audiences and more about reducing risk for those funding the film.
Exactly. It's a way for studios to say, hey, we might not have cracked the code of human desire for entertainment by you. We got this big shot on our team.
It's like a safety net for the studio execs.
You could say that. They're far more likely to greenlight a project, even one with a script that's a little iffy, They can attach a big name to it.
It's that old saying, nobody ever got fired for. But instead of hiring, it's greenlighting a Leonardo DiCaprio movie, even if the script is about a singing toaster.
You're not wrong. At the end of the day, star power might not be a foolproof recipe for a blockbuster, but it definitely oils the gears of Hollywood.
It's the grease that keeps the movie machine churning. Speaking of gears, let's shift focus for a moment to something just as vital for understanding these industries, the cultures that shape them.
Ah, yes. Getting into the DNA of how these stories are told, who gets to tell them, and why.
This German language source you dug up dives deep into this, especially this idea of industry proximity. Now, that sounds a little intimidating, to be honest. What does that actually mean?
Imagine trying to make sense of a painting without knowing anything about the painter, their background, the techniques they used. You might appreciate the colors, the composition, sure.
But you're missing a crucial piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. Industry proximity is about getting up close and personal with the filmmaking process itself, understanding the dynamics on set, the power structures at play, the creative decisions made on the fly. It's about seeing the whole picture beyond just the final product.
It's the difference between watching a magic show and then getting to go backstage afterwards to see how the illusions are actually pulled off.
What a great analogy. And just like that magic show, understanding the mechanics behind the scenes, it doesn't make the final product any less magical, does it?
Absolutely not. If anything, it makes you appreciate the artistry even more.
Precisely. But let's not forget, it's not all smoke and mirrors and standing ovations. There's a whole other side to this industry, one that's often overlooked.
The less glamorous side. The behind-the-scenes work that often goes unnoticed.
Exactly. Both of our sources today really emphasize how crucial it is to recognize this invisible work, to look beyond the big names, the awards, the red carpets, and see the countless individuals who make it all happen.
Because a movie set, even the most glamorous one, is still a workplace. And just like any workplace, it's important to examine who's doing the work, who's getting the credit, and if everyone is being treated fairly.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads us to a critical aspect of this invisible work that often gets swept under the rug, the contributions of women and people of color.
Right, because talent doesn't discriminate, but opportunity often does.
Exactly. This German language source gives this fascinating historical example using, of all things, sound technicians.
Sound technicians. Okay, I'm intrigued.
So even back then, the same job title, sound technician, often meant drastically different experiences and opportunities for men versus women.
It's a stark reminder that the more things change, the more they stay the same.
It's true.
It really makes you think about those historical echoes, doesn't it? How they still resonate in the present.
Absolutely. And that's why, even though we're talking about movies and TV shows, things that are often seen as entertainment, as escapism, those behind-the-scenes dynamics, they really matter.
For sure, they shape not just what we watch, but also who gets to tell their stories, whose voices are amplified, whose perspectives are valued.
Exactly. So whether you're a die-hard film buff, an aspiring filmmaker, or just someone who cares about, fair representation, understanding those historical and, frankly, ongoing power imbalances, it's crucial.
It's about being informed viewers, conscious creators.
100%.
Okay, so speaking of power dynamics, let's dive into this last source here, all about film festivals. Cannes, to be exact. I have to admit, when I hear Cannes, I immediately picture those iconic red carpets, the celebrities, the fashion.
Oh, for sure. That's the image, right? The glamour. But this source, it's like we're getting a peek behind the curtain.
So it's more than just like an awards show.
Oh, way more. Cannes is this incredible global marketplace. Think of it. You've got creativity, art colliding head-on with, cold, hard cash.
So amidst all the champagne and those fancy screenings, there are some pretty intense negotiations happening. Deals being made and broken.
Exactly. The source even tells this great little anecdote about two filmmakers who were there pitching their movie idea. They've poured everything into this project. They've got their vision, their passion, but they also desperately need someone to actually finance the darn thing.
That's going to be nerve-wracking. Like, you're not just selling a product, you're trying to convince someone to buy into your artistic vision.
It's a high-wire act, for sure. And that's what makes these festivals so fascinating. Filmmakers, they have to be not just artists, but also savvy salespeople.
It's about finding that balance, right? Between protecting your creative integrity and, speaking the language of business.
Exactly. Which, it gets even more complicated when you think about how much the media landscape is changing.
Oh, absolutely. Streaming services, global audiences, everything's moving so fast. It makes you wonder, are these fundamentals we've been talking about, are they even relevant anymore?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And honestly, there's no easy answer. But what we do know is that the things we've discussed today, the importance of having those unique resources, understanding the influence of key players, navigating those complex networks, those haven't gone away. They've just, they've evolved.
They've adapted to this new world. So whether you're a YouTuber just starting out, a screenwriter with a killer script, or just someone who, loves movies and wants to understand them on a deeper level, having these insights, it's invaluable.
Absolutely. It's like we've given you a backstage pass, those decoder rings, to help you understand not just what you're seeing, but why.
And that's what I love about these deep dives. It's not about cramming information down your throat, but about giving you the tools to think critically, to analyze, to question, and ultimately, I think, to appreciate the media we consume in a whole new way.
Couldn't agree more.
So to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, inspired you to ask questions, and maybe even empowered you to tell your own stories, because the world needs those diverse voices and unique perspectives. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep creating.